Okay, so this episode is about speed.
Happy hunting.
And usually the opening segment is like 40 to 50 seconds, which I figured is just enough time to show off Nova. Now, Nova's banned in Xandy's competitive races for obvious reasons. That's because she is hands down, like the best speedrun Warframe. Portal's really good, and I'm running a suboptimal build on this, but it's still, the time is still going to be better than my best time with Volt, and that's because it's Nova. So now, everybody in the comments that is going to say that we didn't mention Nova, shut up. Just shut up, okay? Shut up. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Joey Zero's weekly Warframe show. I'm Joey Zero, and on this episode we're talking about speed. We're talking about the idea of getting from point A to point B quickly. We're talking about getting through those missions faster, getting those rewards faster, and just what it's like to live the life of a speedy boy. So before we get into any of that, as usual, I wanted to take a few minutes to go over what's going on this week in Warframe. First of all, the Thermia fractures are back. That was a lot faster than I expected, honestly, and that's awesome. If you're on PC and you missed out on Hildren, or the Opticore Vandal, or the Amalgam mods, or the Exploiter fights in general, you can now just go build up your Thermia supply and knock those out. Great job, glad it's back. Secondly, we got a bunch of new stuff on PC this week with update 24.7. We got the Atlas Deluxe skin, and the collection comes with a sparring weapon skin, and of course, the new skin for old Punchy Boy himself. I'm just giving you a quick look at these right now because we're going to be taking a much more in-depth look at Atlas overall on an upcoming episode, and you're gonna see a lot more of it there, but if you were curious, you know, there you go, that's what it looks like. Also, we got 4 new augments with this update. We got Pilfering Strangledome, which allows Strangledome to cause enemies to drop more loot, which, loot mechanics? Yes! At a 65% chance to drop additional loot, this gives better drop rates in general than Necros's Desecrate with a smaller range and a bit more maintenance. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but as far as I can tell, it's really quite good if you're willing to work for it. Blinding Reeve now blinds enemies, which does not open them up to finishers, but you do get stealth multipliers on your melee weapons. It's not my favorite blind mechanic, but yeah, it works. Teaming Virulence is an augment for Nidus's Virulence, that's his one, that allows crit chance to your primary weapon when Virulence hits 4 or more enemies. This is not additive crit chance, it's multiplicative. Xeno. It's like adding a 120% crit chance mod to the end of your primary weapon loadout. So it makes crit weapons even better, but if a weapon is not awesome at crit, then this doesn't add a whole lot. But you know, that's fine for what it is, that's pretty good. And then Dread Ward for Garuda makes her unkillable for a few seconds when killing a target with Dread Mirror. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory, really cool mechanic, but I have a hard time picturing myself using it. I don't know, what do you guys think? Also, we got the Wolf of Saturn 6 episode 4 this week, and that's pretty rad. As someone that has had to miss out on entire weeks of Nightwave because editing, I'm still behind where I know a lot of other players are, but I should still be on track to knock out that armor before the end of it, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think I've only actually completed 1 or 2 weeks of Nightwave so far. All the others have just been, you know, okay, well, I'll do the ones that I can. I won't worry about the ones I can't. I think when we hit episode 5, I'm going to do a discussion video about what I liked and what I didn't like and what was and wasn't okay about Nightwave, just kind of as a feedback piece. I don't know, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Finally, on more of a community note, there was some talk about nerfing Blink on the latest dev stream, and that spawned a lot of discussion among the community, and the devs have been collecting feedback about it. I'm going to talk about this more in a separate video because I don't think my thoughts on the matter can easily be boiled down into a 2 to 3 minute segment. I felt like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least give it a cursory mention in the show, so you know, if you weren't in the loop, now you are. Which brings us to Xeno's segment. Xeno, take it away.
Now it's time for an unpopular opinion.
In addition to the changes proposed to the ITSOL during DevStream 126, Archwing should be impacted by the different weather conditions of the plains and orb valleys. This means that while using them out during the day in the plains, They should occasionally overheat and require the player to stop and let them cool down before they can continue to use them. And while using them on Orb Valis, they should freeze up and actually cause the player to crash on random periods of time. Praise be to Scott, Nerfer of Trinity.
You just watched Xenogelion giving an unpopular opinion. Brought to you by Xeneric brand energy soda. Get energized.
The enemy is trying to escape with supplies. Hurry to the loading dock and destroy their transports.
What's up, fellow Tenno? Welcome back to another 2 minutes. Today we're talking travel speed, how to move fast in Warframe so that you can be the fastest of your team, put in those pans, and call yourself Xandy. Was that a little too much? Oh well. Now your speed in the game is decided by whatever sprint speed your Warframe has, that is this stat right here. The slowest frame is Atlas, with a sprint speed of 0.9, and the fastest is Loki with 1.25. However, the big question you might have right now is, well, what's the use of it? Does sprint speed actually help you in combat? Like, if I'm going faster, will my bullets hit harder? Or will that make my sword go fast? No, stop. Basically, it is just parkour across the map that we're talking about today. However, when you know how to do it, it can make your missions way faster and so much more fun. So, aside from your sprint speed, which can be boosted with all of these mods, what else can you do? Well, we have the famous bullet jump, which is just crouch and jump, and you can cover some pretty serious distances. After you bullet jump, you can press jump again to do a double jump. And then, if you still need more distance to your jump, aim with your gun and you will go into an aim glide. This decreases your descent and allows you to attack or just cover more distance. However, even if the bullet jump, double jump, aim glide still is not enough for you, you can hold down crouch mid-air to slide, which should give you just a little bit extra flight and allow you to maintain your speed when you hit the ground. Now, all of this can be done in one single jump. Can you see now why parkour is actually pretty cool? Anyway, you also have your evasions, which are your front rolls, side rolls, and backflip. To use your side rolls and backflip, hold your aim, move the direction that you want to roll, and then tap the sprint button. It honestly sounds more complicated than it is, so just try it out a few times and I'm sure you'll master it soon enough. Now the front roll is a lot easier, as it's just a tap on your sprint key and it can actually save you in a fight, as during the roll, all damage is reduced by 75%. So yeah, keep that in mind. Finally, we have the bunny hop on the walls, which is just super simple. Just run towards a wall and hold your jump. This will work both when going up or alongside a wall, and you can do this for as long as you want. And that is the basics of parkour. Let's move on with the show.
Welcome to my Tech of the Week. I'm Xandy, and this is Pax Soar, and you can use it to momentarily hover in midair, even while not shooting. For example, while using Peacemaker. Fire your kit gun before activating your ability or whatever to halt your lateral momentum and greatly reduce the effect of gravity for a few seconds. You can cast an ability, gain additional height by firing early during an upward bullet jump, or simply hang out in the clouds just long enough for a sip of an ice-cold Xeneric brand energy soda, #not sponsored. Since we're talking about movement, and many of you know me as the creator of DriftFrame, a competitive Warframe racing format, I thought I'd pull a fast one on you and talk about a technique that actually slows you down. Not everyone likes speed, and it can be helpful to have more precise control over your movement than extreme speed allows. You'll notice that you can also catch yourself with aim gliding after you deactivate, in this case, Peacemaker, to further stall your descent and then roll, cartwheel, or handspring to reposition. The reason that Paxor does this is kind of unclear at first. You'll notice that there are 3 listed effects, and none of them mention gravity or any effect on your lateral momentum. Still, I'm quite confident that this effect is not a bug, but an intended feature that will remain in-game. Developers of all sorts of games often add in unstated effects, such as what we're seeing, just to get a feeling across. In this case, I guess soaring. Generally, it's not meant to be a positive or negative aspect on its own. Sometimes it's not even noticeable or meant to be noticed. I like using what I'm going to name soar prepping, because it sounds cool, with Peacemaker, because I enjoy the bullet jumping Peacemaker gameplay style more than Mesa's Waltz, but I still want lots of mobility options. I don't want to be standing still or quickly falling back down. You can even run some of the synth set, maybe on your Sentinel, so that when you activate Peacemaker, you'll have holstered that secondary, your kit gun, and then it will reload the rounds that you used to trigger Pax Soar while you're using Peacemaker, and that will allow you to use this soar prepping technique indefinitely. You'll never even have to reload. I've been Xandy, and you've been Dandy, and I hope you're now very floaty while you're unleashing the abilities of your choice. Thanks for tuning in to my Tech of the Week. Enjoy the rest of our show.
The Boltace! Okay, so you know the drill. There's the Boltace and the Telos Boltace, and we're going to be talking about the Telos Boltace today. But if you're interested, I mean, the stock Boltace has worse stats overall, but a slightly higher slash disposition, which isn't really all that helpful, but, we'll talk about why later. And I think it's worth mentioning that this weapon's slide attack mechanic used to be absolutely amazing. Now it's not. I don't want to talk about it. Also worth noting is that the fashion on Tonfas in general is a bit overpowered because you can make it look like you have wings for a stacking wing bonus on your fashion. So if you've ever wanted to have a Syandana on your Syandana, why not grab the Boltace? So the reason I wanted to review this weapon for the weapon review this week is because it has a passive that increases your bullet jump velocity, aim glide duration, and wall latch time by 20%. This is pretty decent for an always-on kind of passive. It also has this funny little mechanic where you can slide attack once to pull enemies toward you, slide attack again to blast them away, all on a 6-second cooldown. 8 seconds if you're trying to use the pulling in exclusively. However, your slide attack range on this weapon is pretty small, and in practice, it's a bit difficult to make use of this mechanic in any meaningful way unless you're comboing with weapons that make use of cluster synergies like the Torrid, the Archiplasmor, the Ignis, stuff like that. Originally, I was hoping to use this for flyby dispatch overdrive procs, but the range on the slide attacks is just entirely too small to do it consistently in the middle of a race. I miss the old Telos Boltace. Anyway, the whole parkour velocity thing has made this weapon a pretty solid meta melee for Xandy's drift races because it makes you go just a little bit faster, and sometimes that edge is all you really need. Also, the Truth proc, which this weapon grants once it's gotten enough affinity, also makes you faster by giving you another 25% boost to your parkour velocity. But in practice, I've found this pretty difficult to use meaningfully, but, it's a thing. I thought it was worth mentioning. So, okay, let's talk about this as a weapon. Damage-wise, it sits pretty close to the Oma and the Cronin Prime. If you're looking for an outright, which is better comparison, I'm not doing that because it's too dependent on RNG and how you prefer to build it. The Oma's got some pretty big spin attack damage, and that's a thing that's pretty meta right now, so that's probably your best bet if you aren't worried about combo shenanigans. And speaking of combo shenanigans, oh yes, I'd imagine that this is probably going to change with Melee 3.0, but Gemini Cross is absolutely a powerhouse if you manage to pull off the right combos. First off, the easier block combo has this insane ragdoll, which I don't really like, but if you don't kill an enemy with it, you're just going to straight up launch them into orbit, while simultaneously inflicting a bleed proc at 150% damage. Blind Terminator, which is the hold combo, it's a pretty short combo, and it has a bleed proc at 125% damage, and a ragdoll that does 300% damage. But my favorite is Vagrant Blight, which is the block combo that's slightly harder to pull off. It has a ton of multi-hit strikes, which are amazing for inflicting statuses and building up that combo counter quickly, and a forced slash proc at the end of the combo that deals 200% damage. If they survive to the end of the combo, it's really good and they probably won't survive past that hit. Just as a tip for pulling off this combo, the timing is a little difficult to get down, but generally I try and hit right click right when I know that that one flashy move is coming up. I'm putting it on screen right now. It's a little difficult to explain, but that's when I right click. Now here's one build of mine. I've built it for channeling because I don't really want to have to worry about combo counter in general play, but if you're one of those people that refuses to use channeling ever, just a straight up combo counter build focusing on crit will totally work. For those heavier targets, you're just kind of gonna have to hope you land a crit on the forced slash proc, whereas with the channeling, you can just toggle it on for the final couple of hits to minimize your energy expenditure and guarantee a damage multiplier. Channeling isn't always bad. So, what do you guys think? Did you rage over the fact that I showed off a channeling build? Do you like the Telos Boltace? How much of what I put forward in this review do you think Melee 3.0 will invalidate? And of course, what weapons should we look to cover next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright guys, that's it for this one. You know the drill. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, maybe ring that bell for more content like this. If you haven't already, make sure to check out all the other content creators involved with the creation of the show. All the links to the channels and social media of Xenogelion, XandyPants, and Michel Postma are going to be listed down in the description below, as well as a link to Xandy's racing tier list. If you're interested in getting into a fun, competitive racing format in Warframe, I can tell you firsthand that it's a lot more than just doing speed runs. It's a lot of fun. Make sure to check it out. Anyway, that's it. Once again, my name's Joey Zero. Okay, bye!